Hey everybody, this is Diane. Today is Sunday afternoon. It's late in the afternoon. It's after 5 o'clock. And I've had a pretty quiet day. I went to church and went to lunch with my son and his family and came home and have been sitting on the couch ever since. Took a little nap and watched a little YouTube. And now I've been thinking about these journals that I'll be starting. They're going to be made similar to this. If you didn't see that video, they may be made similar to this, but different covers, obviously, but they're magazine covers, old magazine covers. So you go back and watch, I think it was probably yesterday's video where I talked about this. So what I have here are possible pages to go in the journal. So I'll just show you a little bit of the kind of pages that I pulled. These are 8.5 by 11 covers that I'll be making, and so I need large pages for inside. And then I'm hoping to use my sprays. I have my sprays and some stencils here next to me, and I'll be coloring some of these pages. So let's just take a look at what I pulled at this point. This is a large silver end paper for a book. I don't remember what kind of book it was, but it's a vintage book, and I thought that could be really fun to fold into one of these books. Not sure if I will. These are all just possibilities. Then I have these papers that were on rolls. They came from Michael's because they were Recollection brand, but I got them at a flea market for $1 a roll. I have some of these papers cut, and I haven't been sure if I want to put them in my shop. I obviously don't need them all. These are the ones I'm keeping. So if you guys are interested, if you think I should put them in my shop, I have some cut, and I can get them ready to go in my shop, which I think that was the goal, but I just haven't done it yet. This is a large, it opens out really big. So it's a pattern for a doll dress, I think, a large doll dress. So that could make a page. There's a couple of those. And then I have this dot matrix paper. That one I'm going to leave out so I can color some of that. This was one that was already colored. I have these atlas pages, and I think these colors are absolutely gorgeous. So I think these will be great in these books. This is a very large vintage farm ledger. It says farm purchases, farm sales, miscellaneous memoranda. So I probably won't dye it or anything, but it's excellent because it's so big. I could cut this in half and still have flaps to fold. Put this in 2 journals. That would go a long way. This is also from that book, and it lays out acreage, I think, from the farm. It says plat of farm. Is there a date on this? No, it just says January. And this is the title page for this ledger. Farmer's Account Book and Farm Record, published by Cornelius and Company, Hastings, Nebraska. These pages are from a large teacher's book. So these are great. I use these a lot in my journals. I have a couple of them that were big like this. I got them from a thrift store, Salvation Army, before they closed in my area. This is a nice, it's not a ledger book because it doesn't have ledger lines, but it's a record book. Has a page number up here and a heading up here to write something about Pennsylvania, the place in Pennsylvania, and a year. So it was some kind of official record book, I think. But again, it's a folio, which means it's the 2 pages connected. So that will be great, and I won't add any color to that. I've got some music pages, and these are folios. Oh, they're still stapled. So I could maybe spritz them a little bit, and then some music manuscript paper. And some wallpaper from sample books. Just some possibilities. I grabbed a few. And some grid paper. Oh, that one's cut into. These I will stencil. or spray at least. This was a fancy kind of grid paper, and it was in a composition type of notebook. And this is a big one. I hope that it looks very shadowed when I'm looking in my lens. Try to adjust my lamp, but it doesn't want to stay. Hopefully it's okay. But it's just a grid in grid paper. This is from a large date book or appointment book. It was in the back where you would write birth dates. So that's a nice page. Just some more lined papers that I can spray. I just grabbed a stack out of one of my drawers of papers. Oh, here's that sketchbook. It says 3D sketchbook. I got it on clearance for $1.24. Oh, it's a different kind of a pattern. Can you see those lines? Pretty cool. And these are just plain yellow pages that came out of a notebook, and they have numbers at the tops of the pages. They're very thin, so I think they'll be nice and crispy when I spray them and they dry. Another teacher's book here. Then I noticed in my original book that I have a, no, not that, a dust jacket from a vintage book, this one, which I thought was fun to do. I want different size pages. They don't all have to be big. And I have these that came with my uppercase Encyclopedia of Inspiration books. They all come with this dust jacket on them. So I could cut this in half and have two. Aren't they neat? I think this is from my latest one called Notions. Look at all that. And then iron-on transfer on that side. So many images on that. And this was at the top of the drawer. I have a drawer. It's a shallow drawer, but it's wide. And so I put my big papers in there. And later on, at the bottom of the drawer, as I was going through it last night, I found more of those dust jackets from these awesome inspiration encyclopedias. So this looks like, this was from a typeset or typecast or something book. And so that's what those are. And then look at that. Inking. I'm not sure what the book was. We don't have to look at all of them, but this one was about embroidery. This one was about quilting. This one was feed sacks. And this one was about flowers. Floral art. And this one might have been about art supplies. So I have a lot to choose from there. And speaking of art, these are pages from the big art instruction books. Got a few of those. These aren't the really old magazines. The book was vintage, but they're replicas, copies of the old images. That might be a fun page. This was a book about jewelry. And one of the Time Life books, I think, about certain eras. And this definitely looks like the Gibson Girl era, early 1900s. And this is a poster that came with an uppercase magazine. So that would be a really good page. I'm subscribed up to issue 60. I was. I don't think I'm subscribed anymore. Some more folded pattern papers for craft projects. And these came from some quilting booklets, so they're nice folio pages. I have way more than I need. This book that I'm using as a sample, as a inspiration book, has 18 pages folded. This was from an atlas, and they were celestial images, so that could be fun. And this, Through the Looking Glass, A Girl's Guide to Good Grooming, is a stapled booklet. So these pages I could pull out as folios, and I think these would be great for the types of images that I want to put in these books. But I also want to use eclectic pages, not just fashion pages. And that's a pattern, fold-out pattern for a doll dress. This is from a vintage calendar. Luzerne Lumber Company. It's very thin paper, 1973, and it's got writing on it. I think this would be really fun to put into a journal. And I might spray a little color on it. And I have 2 of those pages. And it looks like I could cut that into at least 2 pieces for the calendar. So I would have enough. This one is torn right there, but even if I have to use that piece, I could mend it with something. This is from a collector's book about glassware, and this is cut glass. So I have some real pretty pages of that. These pages don't belong over here. I don't want to spray them. Forgot what I was doing. Any of the rest of them could be sprayed. This is a book. It's kind of a sturdy, it feels like rag, cottony, very cottony. Book pages, the Oxford Annual for Tiny Folks. I don't know if I use it, but I thought it was fun, and I might use it. This is just one piece. I don't have any more of this. I have 2 things that I only have 1 of, and they're both really cool. This is a remnant packet, so a remnant would be wrapped in it and then tied with the string, and then the information is right here. The price and how much is in it, etc. I love this. And this is what I have left from the eye exam chart that I got at a flea market with a bunch of optical supplies. I have some of the optical lenses and some other things that came in this box of supplies. That was a really exciting find. And some more art instruction book pages. So I have plenty of pages, and then I want to use some smaller pages in it too. So let's just start with some spraying. I have a splat box. I don't know how useful this will be because I'm using big pages. So I might just have to clean up the mess when I'm done. I think I'll just take the splat box right away and not worry about it. I have my mats here, and just a piece of paper that I usually put down when I'm stamping and doing messy things to kind of, and this will be fun. Once I get some spray on that, that'll be fun to use also in a project, whether it's this one or not. I have some stencils here, and I have my collection of sprays. Some of these are ink sprays from Tim Holtz, Heidi Swapp, Diane Reevely, Dilutions. And some of them are inks that I made with food coloring, and so they're much paler. I wanted some not so bright and dark colors to use, so I've been making them with food coloring. So that's what I have here. And it doesn't really matter. I'm not going for any special theme, so I think this would be a good time to use some of these geometric type of stencils. They came in a set from Amazon. But I like the flower one too. Where'd those other geometric ones go? I had a whole bunch of them. I don't think that's one of them. Anyway, I have enough stuff here. We can start. I'll start with a flower one. And I can just spray on some of them too. I don't need to use a stencil. I'll start with a light color. One of my, food coloring sprays. This one is Grapefruit Red. And I'll do a geometric design in a different color. I don't want to get too wild and crazy with these just because of the vintage magazine covers that I want to use. So I'm not going to do anything super bright, I think. Well, curious about this. It says Blood Orange, and that's the name of the food coloring that I used. I got a set of little tiny food coloring bottles from Amazon. So it's not so dark. It says Blood Orange, so you think it's going to be bright, but it's not. I'm sure, and it looks kind of almost yellowish brown. It depends on how much food coloring you put in there, of course. And I don't have to cover the whole page. I can just do parts of it, but I'm having fun, so I'm going to continue with some other colors. I have green grass. Do I want that? I don't think so. I do like the blue with the pink. So this one is called Sky Blue. And of course, mingled with the pink, it turns into a more purpley color. And the back has enough color going through that I don't need to do anything to that. So I'm going to put that on the floor to dry. And of course, you saw me laying down the stencils upside down on this paper. So that's going to make a nice pattern on this page. I used to have paper towel in here. Had to go out to the kitchen and get some. There isn't much left on this roll. I'll use the same colors here. And that looks pretty, just like it is, so maybe I'll add a little bit extra just to that, and I'll set it aside and get a new page. I like the X's, and I can do that in something a little darker. So, not the food coloring ones, but maybe a Tim Holtz. Do I have a brown? Yeah, walnut stain. This is an oxide spray. This is what I'm using. I got it at Walmart. Pen & Gear sketch pad, 18 by 12 inches. I used to be able to get those children's large sketch pads that were made out of newsprint, and they were pretty cheap. So I pay more for these, but I like having a paper handy. Let's do some dot matrix paper. Maybe for this, I'll just spray without a stencil. This one's a blue. I didn't write a name on it. This might not be food coloring. I think it's something with glimmer in it. I think it's a little bit clogged, but I like that spattery look. And if I put yellow, then it would, anything that blends with the blue would turn green. This one is fully clogged. Oop, I just popped it right off. Didn't help. I used to have a dropper in here. I don't have it in here anymore. It's probably in the other room. I'm not going to go get it. And I have one empty bottle in here. I have more empty bottles in the other room. This is Dylusion's Lemon Zest. That's pretty bright. That's okay. It's still, you can write on it. I'm going to just spray with this water. And if I decide it's too bright to use in these journals, then I'll just save it for something else. That toned it down a little bit. Sometimes it's just fun to play with color. You can see where the blue and yellow are forming some green up there. This is a blue-green, and this is with the food coloring. It's pretty. This one is dark blue. Let's just try some blues. Doesn't look much different, does it? Let's see, I have this peeled paint, Tim Holtz Distress Oxide, just a little bit. Let the color run. Can you see it? Taking it too far out of frame. All right, let's do something else. We'll try some of this grid paper because I like the thinner papers when they get sprayed because they're so crispy and crackly when they dry. And I'll actually use a design this time. This is, I believe this is Lorna Taylor, Tailor Made Journals. Looks like a wallpaper border. And I'm going to use Cherry Pink food coloring. And then at the top, I'm just going to do a little bit of spray. I think it was the blue-green that I really liked. This is just water. Probably won't activate it much because this paper is pretty porous and it probably already sank into the, absorbed into the paper. So there's not much running or dripping going on. That looks pretty. I love that color combination. Just for a little fun, I wonder if I have a yellow. Let's see what this color is. Coccineus. I think that's a pink or red. Yeah, it's a pink. I thought maybe a little bit of pink, yellow down here would be good, but here's a lemon yellow, but it's food coloring, so it won't be as bright as the Dylusions one. Yeah. Perfect. That's a pretty page. Now this is going to lay some pink down, a little bit of pink, and I'm going to put some blue through the stencil. See what that does. Yeah, that's pretty. But now the pink is gone, probably, so it won't look like that on this side. still pretty. And we're getting some pink on this edge from this, which I don't care. I just want the color to go wherever it wants to go. Fun. All right, let's try some of this yellow paper. It's really thin. This is called Green Grass. It's nice and pale on it. And I don't need to mix colors. I just want a little bit of color on that one. I'm kind of sliding it so it's smearing the image, which is okay. If I wanted it to be a crisper image, I would lift it straight off like that. I tried to remember to put the caps on, but I've got a bunch of caps laying around here now. When I'm done with a spraying session, I usually have to go through and try to see what cap goes on what. But I'm usually not successful with finding every single one. Okay. Let's do one more yellow page because I want one yellow page in each journal. Let's do it with some flowers. These are fun flowers. And see if I have an orange. I know I used that blood orange and it didn't look very orangey. I have carved pumpkin. Let's do some of this pattern paper. Not even going to cut it apart yet. Guess it's pretty dry over there. So for this, I'm not going to use a stencil. Maybe a few dots. Let's do some dots. Big dots. They're fun. I like the big dots. What did I do with them? Oh, it's down here. This has a little bit of orange here, so that'll be fun. Just put that little bit of blue there. Actually a little bit of green because it mixed with the yellow. Okay. This is called jewelry blue. I wonder what the difference is in that blue. Oh, I wonder if it's supposed to be like a Tiffany blue. Isn't that pretty? These are going to be so fun to put in my journals. Now, a lot of these will not go in these journals. I don't want every page in these journals to be sprayed. But I figure I'm making the mess. I might as well go for it. I've got just a few more minutes. So let's do a teacher's page. Did I already do a teacher's page? Yeah, I did. Do something different. Music. Fold it since it's bigger than this. No stencils for this one. This is grapefruit red. And lemon, no. Yeah, lemon yellow. That looks pretty. What is this? This This one will be blues and greens. Let's do that jewelry blue again. And I try a different shade of green if I have one. This one says dark green. Again, it's food coloring. That really looks more blue than green. But it's pretty. We've got a little bit of the orange on it from being on this paper, which really highlights it, accents it, I guess. Isn't that nice? Okay, well, I think we're gonna call it done here, and maybe I won't upload the video until I cut these. I'll let them dry and cut them, and then I can show them to you at the tail end, so don't go away. And if I don't get to do that, I'll just say, have a creative day. Well, here we are with the dried pages, and I didn't have to do much cutting to them. I did a little bit of trimming, and I might have to do more. The ones that are wide, I will probably, at least some of them, fold in. So instead of cutting them to the right width, I'll leave some space on there for you to use. So let's look at the pretty results. Let me see, I don't think I have my, yeah, here I just want to compare. The sprayed pages in this are quite bright and chaotic. But these are calm and serene, and you can write on them. And I think they'll be better suited to the magazine covers that I'll be using. So this is a grid paper that's in a folio form, and it was the pretty wallpaper border design at the bottom, and the pretty colors that I love, the pinks and turquoise and yellows. And so I did 2 of those. These are the yellow pages. And there's not much color on this side, but it does show through a little bit. This one is very subtle. It just has, isn't that crinkly sound so wonderful? It's got the subtle green leaves on it. So just a light hint of color on these. And the teacher's book pages. These are so fun. I love them. This one did show through more. Seems odd that the thicker papers showed through more. And the music. The dot matrix paper. This one's brighter. I think we're getting down, well, I don't know. I don't know if I'll use these. I might try some dot matrix paper with a lighter color, but I'll just see how they fit in. You see how the colors kind of spread out and merge together. I think these are my favorites. These are the big patterns that were for crafts. I ended up taking them apart. So there's 2 more pieces just like this on the same sheet. So that was a really big sheet. I didn't open it up. I just sprayed it on one side and flipped it over and sprayed the other side. And after it dried, I took it apart. Isn't that fun? And then the pages that I was blotting things on and using as my background can be used, if not in this journal, then in others. So there we have it. Are you going to try spraying papers? Have you already done it? There's so many ways you can color your papers. So many ways. This is just one. And I hope you give it a try. I'll see you in the next video. Have a creative day.